Hello everybody, this is Gregory with 5 Minute Catholic Apologetics, where 5 minutes of your time may get you to the divine. Today we're going to talk about atheists and to give you some advice to atheists in your life. Now before we begin, let's start with a prayer. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, secut eram principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Clearly, a lot of people have atheists, agnostics in their life, whether they be lapsed Catholics, lapsed Christians, Protestants, or perhaps their whole life they were that way because their parents felt in their injudicious wisdom not to raise their child in any faith and then let the child at 18 decide what faith they want to be. I mean, that's akin to like never taking a kid to a hospital or vaccinating or not even putting them in education until they're 18, then they can decide if they want to be educated. I mean, it's nonsensical to do that. But either way, I mean, atheism is quite pervasive in this world today. We do have a couple episodes addressing atheism here. Certainly this channel is more toward Catholics defending the faith against Protestants. But atheism, as we mentioned in the episode, how Protestants and Catholics have a common foe. We need to stop focusing on nitpicking each other. And I would say that, in all charity, it's mostly the Protestants trying to proselytize Catholics and focus on a common foe, which is cultural Marxism and secular atheism. But if any of you have atheists in your life, lots of times with the Catholics, the studies are pretty clear. It's something like 12%, 6% of all Catholic children will lose their faith within 10 years after graduating from high school. And it's only 12% when they go to a Catholic school. So clearly the odds are not in our favor, like they say in Hunger Games. And many of you might be able to relate to having kids that maybe were at least nominally Catholic and practicing their faith. And then when they went to college after coming home at the Christmas break, they're like, yeah, I'm an atheist. Because they had those Marxist professors, or they were surrounded by a milieu that is antagonistic toward Catholicism. This could be an argument as to why you should send your kid to Ave Maria University or Franciscan Steubenville or someplace like that. Either way, this is what I would tell atheists that you have in your life. As it says in Ecclesiastes 1, there's nothing new under the sun. Right? It's nothing new to have opponents of Christianity. And really, if you look at the New Testament, this would be what we would call the Antichrist. The Antichrist, or anyone whose spirit is against that of Jesus and his teaching and his visible church. But certainly, we've always had people who deny the existence of God throughout history. That being said, every civilization of human history has believed in a higher power. Now, many of them don't believe in a personal God. Many of them don't believe in one God, like in Hinduism, for example. But this is what I would tell atheists. Many atheists believe that when they go to college or whatever, they read a book by Hitchens or something, like they've discovered the truth, right? And there's this sin of singularity, right? I've not been spiritually fed, or really I'm just looking for a justification to commit the works of the flesh and sin and just be debauched and all that. This book teaches me everything I know to invalidate Christianity. So it's like the episode we have on, you don't think the church has thought of that before? Like every argument a Protestant has, or an atheist has, against the church. It's like, you don't think our theologians of 2,000 years have thought about that already and have addressed it? But a lot of atheists don't have, of course, clearly they don't have that background with Christianity or Catholicism, Catholic Christianity. And so when they read this, they're like, I know, see, all my family are stupid sheeple. I know the truth. And what they really don't realize is that they're being duped. Atheism in today's modern form is really an extension of socialism. It's an extension of Marxist socialism played out in its most radical form with Leninism, and then with the cultural offshoots of Gramsci communism and the Frankfurt School, which later came to Columbia University. And they don't understand that. They don't understand that atheism is just another tool of the radical left to corrupt us, along with sexual revolution and pitting the sexes against each other and other things like that. Large government, for example, Leviathan-esque government. They don't realize that. So what I would tell them is it's like, Every civilization of human history has believed in religion, has believed in some relationship with God, a God, the first principle, the uncaused cause, or uncaused causes, if it's a polytheistic religion. Nobody believed that there was no sort of God. And that in itself, is that a proof of the existence of God? But that's something that needs to be put into historical context. And we kind of talked about this in the episode on homosexual marriage too. It's the same thing there. No civilizations ever endorsed marriage or homosexual relations and elevated it to the level of marriage. It is a cogent argument, but it's not a singular causative argument. But it is something to be remembered, is that every civilization has believed in a God and a higher being. Look at some of the greatest minds of antiquity. They believed in God. Plato, he believed in God. Later, Augustine did a lot of work to synthesize Platonic thinking and kind of incorporate it into a Christian paradigm. Aristotle, he believed in a God, gods, higher being, some singular authorities in heaven. And later, probably the greatest intellect of Christianity, Thomas Aquinas, synthesized a lot of Aristotelian beliefs into Catholicism, mostly seen in the Summa. So, and then you look at all the people throughout 2,000 years of Christianity, they all believed in God. Everybody believed in God. So I think, when you strip it away, atheists, when you take it all away, what it is like the sin of Adam and Eve, like I would tell you the sins of fully aware Protestants, the sin of Catholics who support abortion or contraception. When you strip it all down, it's the sin of rebellion, and it's the sin of pridefulness, and it's the sin of singularity. I know better than everybody else. I don't care what's been revealed or what other people throughout history have all consistently, uniformly agreed that there is God or / gods. And we're not necessarily talking about a personal God. We're talking about maybe more the deistic thinking of God, if there is something that created everything and then let everything flow. But we're just talking about a general principle of God. But no, it's a sin of singularity. I know better. Instead of realizing I've been indoctrinated by Marxists to pollute my life, to destroy my life. Because ultimately a life of atheism, as I've mentioned before, is a life of ultimate selfishness, and which leads to hedonism, which typically leads to corruption of the body and corruption of the soul, which is exactly what the Marxists want. They want you to worship the state and its ideals instead of worshiping. So if you know any atheists, just bring up these simple points. Everybody believes in a God. And really push the point that atheism in its modern form is really a creation of Marxism. And then, of course, there's books you can always give them, but just bring up those two salient points. Guys, post in the comments. I'd like to know if you have any atheists in your life. They tend to be insufferable and arrogant. And of course, we must treat them with respect and charity. And like with all things we talk about with Protestants, defend the faith and answer questions with a smile. Love to hear from you. Hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Share with others. Until next time, take care. God bless and pray.